Help you with all your fall lawn and landscape needs. Harbor Landscaping offers fall aeration and overseeding to repair those bad spots from summer damage, trimming, cleaning, mulching, weed, mole, and grub control, along with fall and winter fertilizers. If you really want to enhance your lawn and your soil, you really need to consider a soil quality restoration project. Harbor Landscaping is Johnson County's leading expert in this field, and 50% rebates are currently available in most areas to reduce your total cost. Visit HarborLandscaping.com or call Dan at 319-330-0828 for more information or to schedule a personal on-site visit. That number again is 319-330-0828. Harbor Landscaping, quality products and services at a reasonable price. Business owners, some of your potential customers are looking you up online only to find that you don't have a website or that your current website does not reflect the quality of the work that you do. Let's fix that. Big Imprint builds websites for companies all across eastern Iowa. Their experienced and friendly team will make sure you have a website that reflects your brand. Consultations are free and their team is ready to help you stand out on the web. Just like your reputation in real life is important, your reputation online can make a world of difference. Visit iwantagoodwebsite.com to see examples of Big Imprint's work and get pricing. iwantagoodwebsite.com.
Who knows what dangers lurk inside your plumbing, from dripping faucets, clogged sewer lines, or a water heater that no longer heats? Master Plumber James Streets is licensed, insured, and bonded. Locally owned and operated, Streets Maintenance specializes in plumbing repairs that cover both faucet and water heater repairs, replacement to toilet repairs, sump pump replacements, and drain cleanings. Streets Maintenance also specializes in general repairs with mobile homes. Online at streetsmaintenance.com and Facebook, or call 400-4483. Streets Maintenance, honest plumbing at a fair price.
Your stomach's growling. What are you in the mood for? How about the Solon American Legion's Patriot Grill? They make breakfast the way you like it. Traditional fare like biscuits and gravy, omelets, or the Patriot Egg Sandwich with a side of hash browns. And at the end of the day, the Patriot Grill has great appetizers, burger baskets, tenderloins, Reuben's, chicken strips, butterfly shrimp, and wings with delicious salads and sides. All food items available for dine-in or carry-out. The bar has a full selection of your favorite beverages, too. Stop by the friendliest place to get filled up and cooled off without breaking your budget. The Solon American Legion's Patriot Grill, 222 Main Street, Solon.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios, in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Plenty of sunshine, up to 75 for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the northeast this morning becoming south this afternoon, and only 5 to 10 here today. Tonight, mostly clear. We're going to drop to 53. Tomorrow, sunny, a little warmer, and a little more humid. Our high 77 on Wednesday. Mostly sunshine with a high right around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 49 degrees.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City and Coralville's Hy-Vee. AllHawkeyes.com. Brought to you by Big Dog TV and Internet, serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more. Don't call an 800 number. Call Kevin. Call local. Call Big Dog at 338-6600. Zephyr Printing and Design and Imprinted Ink on the Ped Mall. Also, the Ox Yoke Inn. Supple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. Sittler's LED Supplies. GT Carr and his crew at Supple's Siding and Remodeling. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement, and Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer? Call Premier. From allhawkeyes.com, here's Pat Harty along with Tom Suter and Coach Don Patterson.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Don. How you doing?
Doing well. It's a great weekend.
It really was a good weekend, weather-wise, everything. And, Don, when we were exchanging text messages last night, the Bears were ahead 20-0, and Khalil Mack looked like Lawrence Taylor. And I'll tell you, he still played good in that second half. And, Don, did you see the long touchdown that Rodgers threw where I think it was Randall? Did you see who almost tackled the receiver at the end zone?
Yep, the guy that had the last chance and almost pulled it off was, once again, Khalil Mack.
Unbelievable. Yep. I could not believe the hustle he showed on that play. So, I mean, as a Bears fan, I'm not surprised. I mean, this is what
It's
life
the
is.
Bears.
Was a Bears fan. But just before we dive into the Iowa State game, just your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and how they can. Part of it, too, is the Bears' offense just shut down. Wouldn't you agree, Don?
I didn't see. I saw about the last 10 minutes of the game, so I didn't see the early stages at all. And of course, you're protecting a 20-point lead, and in the NFL, of course, you don't have quite as many possessions as you have in college.
No.
So I'm sure they felt fairly safe and decided they didn't want to beat themselves at least. And
that's what it was.
Of course, well, not to mention, of course, Rodgers appeared to be significantly injured. So
he wasn't moving.
But Aaron Rodgers is a great player.
He is.
I had a chance to watch Cobb play in college. We happened to see a game at Kentucky when Cobb was, I believe, a senior, and he was the best player on the field that night against South Carolina. So he's a great player and also a great person. I know that for a fact.
And then, Don, you were at Buffalo along with Khalil Mack. Just what you said last night, a great person. Were you there when he arrived there? I mean, how did he get there? So he was obviously under-recruited, and was he one of these guys who just bloomed when he got to college?
Khalil was a late bloomer. He actually had one FBS scholarship offer, that being University of Buffalo. He was you can't even argue he was from North Dakota and wasn't on the recruiting trail because he's from Florida. And so there was all kinds of traffic through his high school, I would think. Mm-hmm. And yet people didn't pull the trigger on him. He was a late bloomer. I think Khalil, though, if you had him on the phone right now, Pat, he would tell you that there was a coach that had significant influence on him in his UB days at Buffalo, and that was a coach our listeners are familiar with. He was a great defensive coordinator at Illinois, and the Illinois fans would tell you he was a better coordinator than a head coach.
I know who you're talking
and
about.
that name would be Lou Tepper.
Okay.
Most college linebacker coaches, I guarantee you, Seth Wallace has Lou Tepper's book on his bookshelf because it is the Bible of linebacking, and he's a great person, and he had a profound influence on Khalil. We also had a great strength coach at Buffalo also, and this will worry our fans a little bit. That great strength coach is now over at Nebraska. A guy named Zach Duvall.
Okay, I've actually
Zach
heard.
Duvall is his name, and he's an outstanding strength coach. Those two men had more impact on Khalil's college career than anyone else.
Wow.
And I also recall his senior year, we played at Ohio State, and it was a typical Ohio State team. I think we lost 50-20 or something, but there wasn't a single Ohio State fan that wouldn't tell you the best player on the field was not wearing Ohio State colors. He was wearing Buffalo colors.
Oh, and that's obvious now because he's arguably the best defensive. I mean, the first and second quarter when they put him in, it was it was like watching Lawrence Taylor. It really was. That's what it reminded me of. But Aaron Rodgers came back, Packers came back and won the game. We just got to move on and let's talk about a happier game, happier ending. And Don, I'm sure I was listening to these guys coming in. Obviously, the defense was great. We love the defense. Defensive line has a chance to be special, but I want to dive into the offense. That's your area of expertise. I don't want to panic. It's still early. It's 2 games, but what is going on with the passing attack? I mean, Nick Easley, to me, the most telling stat on this team, Nick Easley has 1 catch for 15 yards. Last year, he had 51 catches. What's going on that you can see?
Well, one issue, we are not quite as good up front as we were a year ago. And our tackles are now back, but they were a little bit rusty. It was definitely their first game. Mm-hmm. I think they'll play better up ahead than what they played against Iowa State. I give Iowa State quite a bit of credit for how they played. I did make a point of sticking around after the game to run into one of my old buddies who is an outstanding defensive coordinator, John Haycock, for Iowa State. Mm-hmm. I competed against John when he was the head coach at Youngstown, an outstanding coach, and I was very impressed with their defense. I was even more impressed with ours. As far as our offense goes, we're just not sustaining our blocks as well as we need to. Our pass protections, I'm sure Nate feels a little bit pressured in the pocket, because they've done a pretty good job of collapsing the pocket the last 2 weeks. Our receivers need to do a better job of separating from defenders. And not to mention the simplest of all aspects is we've dropped too many passes. So those things all start to add up. Mm-hmm. And, of course, if your defense is playing well, you're inclined try to shorten the game a little
Sure.
bit as best you can with the running game, and we did some of that each of the last 2 weekends too.
Does it seem like Nate Stanley is just kind of rushing a little bit, and he's not being very precise on his throws, and I don't know, his timing just seems off to me.
Well, I think it's a complicated issue because a year ago, Nick Stanley was not really asked to provide us with any significant leadership. You know, he was a young sophomore and had his hands full just running the offense. And, of course, we had some good leadership on our team a year ago. But this year he's kind of forced to wear another hat. He's also in a position where he needs to be, and he certainly is one of the best leaders on the team. He's respected by his teammates, and he has that additional burden of being a leader. And he's probably feeling a little bit of pressure, and not to mention his tackles didn't play in week 1, and that didn't help. And the receivers are not as efficient as they will become, I'm sure. You know, they're generally young players that are unproven. I know you could argue that Nick Easley's certainly proven because he certainly performed well a year ago. But I give defenses some credit for having an idea of what we're going to do and taking steps to try to take those things away.
Do you think that pertains to Noah Fant? I mean, last year he averaged 16.5 yards per catch. This year he's averaging less than 6. Is it still too early to draw any conclusions, or are teams obviously they're focusing on him right now? It's just life's different for Noah Fant now. Is that fair to say?
I think it's a little early, honestly, on both sides. I think it's a little early to crown this as the best defense that Iowa's had since 1981 or something.
I agree.
You know, it's early. Let's give it some time to play out. Other teams are going to, as the season wears on, of course, they're going to try to figure out better ways to attack us with our defense. And for that matter, it's early to label the offense as too inconsistent for your liking. You know, I think they'll improve over time. It's just a long season, and I would just encourage the fans, don't overreact in either way. You know, don't think that somebody's not going to move the ball on us, because it's going to happen. We're going to run into some explosive offenses, and they're going to make some plays against us. Let's see how resilient we are when we face those circumstances on defense. I don't have any doubt that we're going to be very resilient because that's how they're coached. But you know, the other team's always trying to move the ball, and they'll find some ways to do it, and we'll have a breakdown somewhere. Hopefully it won't be a case of having to play with too many second-team players because of injuries. But let's not overreact on either side. Let's not give up on the offense. Let's not do that. And let's certainly not think that our defense is unbeatable, because those guys are only human, and they certainly played well on Saturday, but it'll be a challenge up ahead on a weekly basis on both sides.
I mean, as far as the linebackers, they're inexperienced, but to play the way Iowa did on defense Saturday, Don, you obviously know a lot more. They have to be doing okay, don't they? I mean, you can't.
Yeah, I think it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I
think it all starts up front. You know, our defensive line is doing a good job of shedding blockers,
yes.
and they're not leaving, in general, they're not leaving any kind of gaping holes for our linebackers to try to fill. What is impressive, we've started 5 different linebackers now in 2 games, and I have to say that I was impressed with our new guy, Jaiman, pronounced Jaiman.
Jaiman Colbert,
pronunciation down. Redshirt freshman, never been on the field before.
Nope.
But number 32 looked very, very comfortable out there.
I agree. Anthony Hitchens.
He looks like a solid player.
Yep.
You know, I was hats off to our defensive staff and to the players that are doing it. I thought it was just a great example of very few missed tackles. We tackled well on the perimeter, which is hard to do in space. David Montgomery is still the same good back he was a year ago. He had 44 yards rushing. He had 15 yards receiving. It's going to be very difficult for people to hold him under 100 all-purpose yards on any Saturday in the fall. I think part of his problem, of course, if there was a mismatch, it was our D-line versus their O-line.
Yeah.
You know, they just had a hard time blocking us. But it went beyond our front. I think the linebackers did a great job of being sure tacklers. And, you know, our middle backer, Hawkeye, is certainly solid. You know, you can't point out any glaring mistakes on his part. But as I mentioned already, to me, the most impressive part of our tackling was our perimeter guys. The corners tackled well.
Yeah, they did.
Matt Hankins had 8. Ojemudia had 6. Amani Hooker, I expect him to tackle well. He did, 7 tackles there. Maybe one of the most important plays of the game was first and goal at the 2, early on that first drive by Iowa State. And here's Hankins in space having to tackle a tight end, and there's no field behind him. And he drops him right in his tracks.
Yeah, he did.
Huge play because nobody else can make that play. There's nobody close enough to make that play short of a touchdown. So those things were very impressive. The defense really swarmed to the ball.
That's what I thought.
Great job by Phil in terms of putting them in good position. There were just a lot of good things to see on defense. We defended well with the passing game. I was concerned about number 18 vertically. We did a good job on him. If you're an Iowa State fan, you do feel that there was a pass interference by Hooker on that what we call a Vegas route, that inside fade by number 18. But having said that, if there's not pass interference on Iowa State versus Fant's fade route, then if that's not pass interference, then I don't know what is.
I agree.
I think it's gotten to the point, the truth of it is it's difficult for defenders if they're pressed near the goal line to be able to defend fade routes. And it's almost as if the officials have said, okay, well, we're gonna kind of wink and nod and look the other way and give you a chance to somewhat maul the receiver. It happens some, and that play was clearly pass interference, and yet no call.
I think if you want to look at some things, some positives from an offensive standpoint, on our one touchdown drive, finally Brandon Smith comes up with just a huge catch. And also on that same drive, I believe Nick Easley had a nice reception as well. And those guys kind of hadn't done anything all year. But
that was their first catch for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, and what a huge time for them both to come up with receptions.
And those 2 catches were 45 yards of the drive.
Yeah.
That's true. And I don't think I mentioned this last week, but Iowa State last year in 9 Big 12 games, they only gave up a total of 10 plays that were 30 yards or more. That was far and away the best number in the Big 12. The 9 other teams averaged giving up 25 plays over those 9 games of 30 yards or more. So Iowa State does a great job of not giving up big plays, and yet we actually had an edge on big plays also. The 30-yarder, there was only 1 catch by Brandon, but it was a huge catch, and it was well executed. And I don't know that the fans are aware necessarily, but that was an audible by Nate. It was 3rd down and 4. He recognized press coverage. He knew we would have difficulty converting with the running play that was called. So he made a great check, and Brandon responded. And of course, the post route to Smith-Marset was a thing of beauty. Unfortunate that he banged up his shoulder a little bit. There was another play I'll comment on that actually it was a missed opportunity by us. You probably remember it. The thing that was interesting to me, it was a case in which we moved Nate out of the pocket and gave him a chance to set up out of the pocket. The blocking scheme, if you go back and look at it, we keep our tight end in on that side of the formation. We roll Nate out of the pocket. He's got all day to throw the ball down the field, and maybe that was our problem. We had too much time to operate, and we overthrew easily on a deep post route that would have been a huge play too.
I know which one you're talking about. And speaking of Nate, there was one play, I think it was like a 3rd and 6. He scrambled for 7 yards and a first down toward the Iowa bench early in the game. To me, that was encouraging. I think he can move better than he thinks he can. I mean, are you seeing a little bit more of his? But it still seems like, Don, he's just stuck in that pocket sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. The thing that was encouraging to me about that conversion, not only did he pull the ball down and ran for a first down, but he had a very good awareness of the yardage that he needed. And, of course, he just made it by about a yard. So that was good to see. Nate's his progression could be smoother at times, from one receiver to the next. But part of the issue, of course, is the receivers getting the separation that they need to earn and giving him a chance to go through a logical progression with his receivers.
Okay. And I think with Nate's situation, I mean, Tom, we were talking earlier, there's a perception with some fans. I mean, Tom, you've seen the discussion. People think he's ended the season. People were wondering if he's leaving for the NFL. I mean, not saying Nate's doing this, or You know what I mean, though,
Oh,
Tom?
sure. There's a segment.
There's a segment of the
there.
fan base that's already considers him a star and are worried that he's going to leave for the end.
But part of that has been fed by the media, too. Some of the national media.
True.
And some of the local media as well. And, Nate Stanley had a great season last year, but he's really not having a great season so far.
But he also had games last year where he was pretty average.
That's right.
Don, I just sometimes wonder if the expectations are a little out of whack right now for Nate, and this is just part of the growing process. This is just part of it.
Absolutely true. I think our fans tend to overreact sometimes. Maybe the good news out of the first two games is at least the talk of Nate leaving early has subsided. That's good, I guess.
Because it was out there, that talk.
Sure it was.
Not quite ready for the NFL, despite what some fans might think. He's an outstanding young quarterback, but he's still got some growth ahead of him, too. I will mention this. There were two absolute turning points in the game. Both of them favored Iowa. That first drive by Iowa State, they put together a nice drive. They're on 1st and goal at the 2. Things look really dismal for us. I've already mentioned Hankins' great play on first down. And then a couple of downs later, now it's 4th and 1. And the false start, I promise you, crowd noise had something to do with that false start. So now they're backed up to the 6, and of course they're content with the field goal. That was a moral victory for us. We gave up a long drive, and yet we only gave up 3 points. And then at the end of the game, of course, our lone TD drive, that was 13 plays, 83 yards. And I'm sure you thought like I did. It was a little bit like the Bears and the Packers last night. As we had the ball, we were up 6-3, and I'm thinking a field goal is not nearly enough. We have to go get a touchdown, and we did, thankfully. If we're up 9-3 with one more field goal,
10-9.
then it's still a one-score game, and it just takes one big play along the lines of what Cobb gave the Packers last night. And now, even though we've outplayed Iowa State for 55 minutes or more, we still lose the game. So that was a key drive, and as I mentioned, that there was another pass completion in there to Hawkins, as I recall, that barely made a first down. I think we still had a 4th down available then, but some key catches by different players and some key pass completions by Nate. And, of course, to finish it off with that fade route as a check was a good thing to see. And you couldn't help but notice, too, we went tempo for one of the few times in the game.
That was great.
And just about walked in. And I'm sure that caught Iowa State by surprise also.
I was having the feeling in that second half, it felt like that game against Penn State, that 6-4 game, where you just felt that whoever scores a touchdown is going to win this thing.
Yeah, you're right, and thankfully we did. Let's give credit to our running backs too. We were, of course, without one of our best backs. The guys ran hard. They showed very good ball security. I don't recall any situation in which they were even close to getting the ball out of our running backs' hands.
I like the running backs.
I do too.
Yeah, and the yardage, even though number 10 doesn't have a great average, he made some really good runs that were for minimal yardage. Because, Iowa State was doing a good job of penetrating across the line of scrimmage on us. So, we were +1 on turnovers. Finally, we got that. Epinesa, too, I give credit to a lot of defensive linemen, but Epinesa is quickly becoming a force. Well, that guy's figuring out how to play. He's very well coached. And he's going to be fun to watch.
Boy, he sure is.
He understands he's not ready for the NFL either. So he's going to be very coachable. Reese Morgan's an outstanding defensive line coach. He's going to be fun to watch over his entire career, not to mention the rest of this year.
And I know I'm getting carried away, and I said potentially. I said just to me, he's got the chance to be the best defensive end, the chance since Andre Tippett, and that's saying a ton. I understand that he's not there yet, but I mean his upside is amazing. It just seems like he has a knack for. It doesn't just use brute strength to get to the court. He just has a way of playing the game. It's incredible.
He's so fast.
And
he's a very explosive athlete. Yes. He can move quickly in a short amount of time. And he also, it's a little bit like Khalil Mack. Now, we're not going to put him in the same category with Khalil Mack.
Why not?
Khalil, if he chooses to bull rush you, he's going to knock you back into the quarterback's lap. And what makes him so difficult, if you're set for a bull rush, now he can simply finesse you and run around you, too.
Well, Don, his first bull rush was against Brian Balaga, who's 300 pounds. I mean, we all know who Brian Balaga is. He was great at Iowa. He pushed Brian Balaga back like he was on ice skates. I mean, I was stunned because Brian Balaga is a good offensive tackle. He's been in the league for a decade, and it was incredible. But no, and the other thing that's so neat about Epinesa, and I wrote about this, because there's kind of a joke going, whenever you ask Kirk about A.J. Epinesa now, he'll answer, but eventually his answer evolves into something about Parker Hesse. And I wrote today about, to me, that's Kirk's always coaching, figuring out ways to kind of, I mean, Kirk, you know what I mean, Don? You've got the 5-star who the media and the fans are just obsessed with, and he's a great player, but Parker Hesse's a really good player, too, and it's easy to overlook him as a 2-star, and it seems like Kirk's always kind of building things up to try to help prevent what could be potentially awkward situations with an entitled 5-star coming in. But A.J. Epinesa is not your typical 5-star. He doesn't have any sense of entitlement. It's almost too good to be true how easy he is to coach and seem with his talent. Because you know, Don, a lot of these big stud recruits, they come in with a certain expectation, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But A.J. Epinesa has a father that's going to for sure keep him with the right mindset. And not to mention he has great respect. You know, Parker Hesse is a mentor.
Yes.
To A.J. Epinesa.
And so is Matt Nelson and Anthony
A.J.
Nelson.
will tell you that. So, and the thing I appreciate about Parker Hesse, too, if I had to cite one senior from a leadership standpoint over the others, it would be Parker Hesse.
I agree.
As I know it, he is absolutely one of our best leaders.
Yes, go ahead.
Coach.
And he's a good player.
Yeah, he's great. I love watching him play. He's very complete.
I still think he may be their most complete defensive end. I know some fans will be like, you're nuts, because Anthony Nelson and Epinesa will both be in the NFL someday, barring injuries, I think. Parker Hesse, I think, has got a chance, but I think right now he's their best all-around defensive end. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, Coach, put on your offensive coordinator hat here, and coming up this Saturday, UNI is coming into Kinnick.
With 2 weeks off.
With 2 weeks to get ready for us. They lost their opener to Montana. I think it was 26-23. But I don't really know very much about them. If you're Iowa's offense, which has kind of been inconsistent for the first 2 weeks, I think it's fair to say, what do you work on and what do you want to see as the offensive coordinator? What do you want to see your offense do this weekend?
Well, what I would like to see, you know, some people would argue that we could just line up in tight formations a little bit like we did against Northern Illinois and muscle Northern Iowa up and down the field. Maybe we can do that. I don't know. I don't know enough about Northern at this point. But I would like to see us have an offense that's more aggressive than that. I'd like to see us find a way to get off to a fast start, which means a good blend of run and pass. Mm-hmm. Certainly play action pass. I'd like to see us win the game as soon as we possibly can, and by that I mean just find a way to gain a comfortable lead, find a way to get some of those starters out and give more opportunity to reserves. I know this is a lot to ask, but I'm just talking about in an ideal world, that's what we're able to do. Find a way to protect our health going into the Wisconsin game, have more momentum into the UW game. Because of a, I won't say resounding win, but a convincing win, I guess is maybe a better way to put it, over Northern Iowa. I don't know if we can do any of those things. It's something to aspire to. I hope that our guys, I don't think there's any way our coaches will allow our players to take Northern Iowa lightly. Their past record versus Iowa speaks for itself.
I agree.
It seems like it's always a dogfight. But those are my goals for the game. Let's be aggressive with our play calling. Have a good mix of run and pass. Let's not just try to hammer these guys. Maybe we're good enough to do that, but maybe not. But I'd like to see, not to mention our receivers need to be part of a prolific passing game, or not prolific, maybe that's not fair to say, but just a productive passing game. We need to give those guys a chance to shine. We need to give them some opportunities down the field, much as Brian did against Iowa State. You know, we took some shots and tried to give our guys a chance to make some big plays, and they responded enough at least to make it more interesting than it had been. Those two catches are worth 75 yards. You know, that's a lot of outside zone.
Yeah.
You got to run a lot of outside zone plays to gain 75 yards, probably. So I'm glad to see us taking some shots down the field, and of course, one of them got away. The ball that easily could have been a huge play. Mm-hmm. That would have been, 40 or 50 yards, I guess.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Yeah, so... pardon the pun there, easily. I get it.
So, Don, what would your message be to Iowa fans about Nate Stanley right now? I mean, obviously, it's just been 2 games. I mean, his record. I mean, his record as a starter. What are they since they're 10-5 under Nate Stanley right now? That's pretty good. What would your message be to fans?
I would just encourage him, be supportive of Nate. You know, the last thing Nate needs to hear is a little bit of grumbling out of the crowd. You know, Nate's, he's, like I mentioned, he's having to wear more than one hat. He's not just a quarterback anymore. He's also a team leader. And his supporting cast at some positions is, without question, not quite as good as last year. So he's doing the best he can. He'll continue to prepare well. Ken O'Keefe's an outstanding quarterback coach. You know, Nate he'll be made aware of his mistakes, and he'll work on those things, and he'll do everything he can to become better. He's a coach's son. He's going to be very, very conscientious with his preparation for any and all games. It'll be no different this week. You know, he's determined to go out and play a great game on Saturday, and certainly I like his chances of being able to get that done.
Your thoughts on the Big Ten? I mean, and I guess we all should send a shout out to Tyler Wiggers for.
Yeah, boy, he's had 2 great games.
2 great games, and he wins at Purdue. That's not easy. I mean, I guess you could laugh and say that's not easy to do for Eastern Michigan to win at Purdue under any circumstance. Just your thoughts on Tyler, because his stats were pretty good.
You're exactly right. As I watched Tyler last year, I'm thinking in my mind it was pretty clear cut that Nate was the better quarterback. And, you know, I'm just being honest with my assessment of Tyler. But I know he's an outstanding young man. He made a good transition to Eastern. He's clearly leading that team. And 20-28 against Purdue in the rain, that's pretty good. I'm sure those receivers helped out a lot. Maybe some of them were short throws that turned into long gains. But I'm happy for Tyler because – and I'm sure his old Iowa teammates are happy for him too because he was one of us.
Yeah,
and,
for 4 years.
You know, he didn't want to sit. He wanted to play at least 1 year, and I'm happy that he's getting it done, and I'm happy for him that he was able to lead Eastern to a win that he'll never forget.
How about that number 4 for Purdue? My God, what a player that kid is.
He was a big-time recruit, too.
Wow.
You know, I didn't even see the game, so I don't really have any awareness of that particular player.
He's talking about Rondale Moore. He's a wide receiver. Now, did he have a big game against Eastern, too?
He had some big plays.
Okay.
But he not quite as he did in the
Donnie's one of the quickest players I've ever seen. But
God.
he went to Jeff Brom's same high school down in Louisville, so his choices came down to Texas, Ohio State, and Purdue, and Alabama. Those were his choices, and he chose Purdue. But now Purdue, all of a sudden, I'm not saying the glow's rubbed off, but they're 0-2. I mean, they've dug themselves a hole.
Well, you're right. You know, I'm sure the Purdue fans thought they'd probably be 2-0.
I bet they did.
But again, it's a long season.
It is.
You know, Jeff Brom's a good coach. You know, we've gotten off to some rough starts through all of my coaching career. And the thing I tell them, it's no different than the same thing we tell them in a game. If we get off to a slow start in a game, if we're down by 14 after 2 possessions, best thing a coach can do is remind them the game lasts a long time.
Sure.
Let's just keep playing. We can't score 2 touchdowns on this possession, but we can sure as hell score 1. So let's go get one. You know, that's the right mindset. That old adage, you know, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. So if you're down several scores, just get 1 at a time and put yourself back in the game. And momentum's a funny thing, and certainly the Packers had it last night in the second half.
Yeah.
And the Bears simply couldn't stem the tide.
It's interesting that 3 of the hottest coaches at the end of last year, Matt Campbell, Scott Frost, and Brum they're all winless, 0-4.
I got to say, though, Nebraska looks better.
They do.
But they did lose. I mean, they did lose. So, I mean, did you watch any of that game, Don?
I did. Colorado's a solid team.
Yes.
It didn't shock me that Colorado beat them. What has to give the Nebraska fans a lot of hope? That offense looked pretty explosive.
It did.
Now, I don't know how injured Martinez is. Maybe that's a serious injury. I don't know.
I've not heard.
But the mindset is right. The bottom line is that head coach is a guy that Tom Osborne very much approves of. The fans do. The players do. You know, he's got those players where he wants them in terms of motivation. And they'll go on. You know, they lost their opener. That's not good. But, of course, they also didn't get to play the week before. So they'll go on and have a good season. I'm confident in saying that. Scott Frost is an outstanding coach. I've already mentioned Zach Duvall as an outstanding strength coach. So it'll be a difficult game on Black Friday. You can bet on that. Let's just worry right now about the UNI Panthers, and we'll go from there.
Last question, Don. Are you surprised that Ohio State has been able to survive these first two games without Urban Meyer? And I ask you that sort of tongue-in-cheek. I mean, my God, they're averaging 65 points a game. They're
no, I believe if you were free the last 2 weekends, you could have coached them to a 2-0 record too, Pat.
I think you're right, Don. I mean, it's incredible. It still makes that 55-24 more incredible every time I watch Ohio State just destroy other teams.
I'm just glad we don't have to play them in Columbus this year.
Yes, too. Well, Don, listen, as
right.
usual.
Right. One other comment about the Iowa State game. I thought this was really interesting. As you guys know, I do analytics for Coach Snyder at K-State also. And the 4 most critical parameters to winning in the Big 12, we won all 4 of them.
What were those?
So we kind of beat Iowa State the way other Big 12 teams have been able to win in the Big 12. And that would be we had an edge on turnovers. We had an edge on explosive plays. We had an edge on second quarter scoring, even though it was only 3-0. And last but not least, we had more appearances in the red zone. Those are the top 4 parameters that relate to winning in the Big 12.
Interesting. Yeah,
that is interesting.
Iowa State had no big. Their offense was just so boring. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot. There's been a lot of people questioning Matt. Matt Campbell's calling the plays now, I believe. And, I mean, did you have any issue with Iowa State's play calling? I just think when you can't do anything, no play's going to look good. Some people are saying they were wondering why they didn't go downfield.
A little bit telling is they started the second half. The first 2 plays, as I recall, they were targeted at number 18. So I think looking back, they probably wish they would have used their tall receiver in the first half, made a greater effort to get him involved in the first half. And I just based that on the first 2 plays they run in the second half. Matt's a good play caller. He's hamstrung a little bit by how do you buy enough time for the quarterback to be able to throw the routes you'd like to throw?
Because he doesn't move.
The biggest mismatch we had was our D-line, our pass rush versus their pass protectors.
That was
that was a problem for Iowa State, especially against us. It's difficult to call plays when you're running out of time to throw the ball. That's the challenge, and I'm sure Matt would have liked to take a few more shots downfield, but he just didn't. I'm sure he didn't feel like he had the time to do that.
One last thing I got to ask you about Wisconsin. I know you take it one game at a time, but we're not on the team, so we can look ahead. Are they what you expected after 2 games? I mean, Taylor had, I believe, how many? 253 on Saturday. Are they what you expected right now after 2 games? Wisconsin, Don?
Yeah, and what's telling too. Now, New Mexico is not exactly a powerhouse.
No.
But let's face it, they're in Camp Randall and they're up 7-0, and so there's a possibility. Obviously, New Mexico's excited about that.
Sure.
There'd be an outside chance that Wisconsin might get flustered and play poorly from that point forward. They're a veteran team. They acknowledged, okay, you're up by 7. We're still going to beat you. The game lasts a long time. We're going to wear you down. We're going to pound you into submission. That's what they do to people.
Yep.
And they did it all over again. And I know Honeybrook well. I recruited that quarterback when I was at UConn. I think he might have gone to UConn were it not for an offer by Wisconsin. So I like Alex. He's a good quarterback, and he manages that team very well. So it'll be a challenge, even if we jump out to an early lead against Wisconsin, and our fans, of course, are going to be going crazy as they can be. I suspect that Wisconsin will handle that adversity well. It'll probably be a dogfight right to the end.
Okay.
Well, Coach Patterson, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Great stuff as usual.
All morning,
Don.
You're always so insightful, and we truly appreciate your time.
My pleasure, guys.
Hopefully we'll talk another victory on Monday. We'll talk to you in a week, Donnie. Thank you.
Thanks, Donnie.
Look forward to it. Take care. Bye-bye.
That was fun, as usual. Informative.
And fast.
And his thing's morphing into 40 minutes now. I mean, we're going to even more done.
We could have talked for 5 more hours.
Well, if we can't do music with him, so that takes off like 15, 20 minutes because we could always ask him to name certain songs. Play like 5 notes of it and see if he could name it.
He'd say that reminds me of a play that Hayden called in the 1984.
Have you watched some of these Ohio State highlights? This new quarterback.
I haven't seen them play.
This new quarterback, this Dwayne Hunt, but I looked him up. Of course, he's a 4-star from right there in Ohio, and he's just another freak. My guess is if he's 3 years out of college, out of high school, I'm not sure if he's a second year or third year. He'll probably go to the NFL. His arm, he threw some. balls to wide receivers that were just streaking. Now, granted, it was Rutgers, but still, they beat them 52-3.
Honestly, the two teams in the Big Ten that I have not watched yet this year, Ohio State and Rutgers. I haven't.
Yeah, Rutgers.
Haven't seen them
I mean,
at
it's
all.
hard to evaluate Rutgers based on this game, but at some point, you got to wonder: is Rutgers ever going to offer anything in football? I mean, this is 4 or 5 years in the league. I mean, it's just,
Maryland looks like they might.
Maryland's got
have
a chance.
little
Yes,
something going.
Yes, and I've always thought Maryland was way above Rutgers in pretty much every regard as far as the basketball and obviously they are. They're in basketball. They're an NCAA program, but football, I think Maryland. I hate the sleeping giant. That's been used over and over, but right there in that D.C. Baltimore area, you recruit that area, you're going to be good.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Had a comment. Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Had a comment, just kind of an observation from the first two games. Has anybody really tested our safety thrown over the top yet this year?
Not really, no. And I kept waiting for Iowa State to try to run some post route stuff, and they just never tried to get behind Iowa's defense. And Iowa does a good job under Phil Parker of keeping offenses in front of them.
Yes.
That's but in some of the criticism. They don't allow the 60-yarder, but they sometimes allow those 14 to 20-yarders. But no, they really haven't. That's a good observation.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure they've been called.
Now watch UNI. You watch. They'll just.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to end up beating UNI by at least 10 points, but I don't think it's going to be a 55-0.
No.
I think there's too much talent, always too much pride with UNI, but at the same time, Iowa should not lose this game, and you can make a strong case it shouldn't be really, really, really competitive. It shouldn't be.
I'm thinking something more along the lines of a 31-13.
That's what I was thinking. And that's kind of been some of the scores. And now, if they end up going, let's say it ends up being 20-17, they win on a last-second field goal. People will be disappointed, but everyone will be like, "Look what happened in 2009. Just forget about it. Be happy we're 3-0.
Take the
Move
W.
on." Yep, take the W.
Hello.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, I was down at the game on Saturday. Sat pretty close to the field, and got to see a lot of stuff that maybe you don't on TV. So it's pretty good perspective. The tackles were, looking back on it, it was I think a disadvantage for Iowa State not having a game under their belt. Obviously,
I'm sure it probably couldn't have helped. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, because there's only so much surprise element stuff. But were you surprised with Coach Patterson? He was not real impressed with Iowa's two offensive tackles. Were you getting ready to say something about the tackles, or were you going to talk?
Well, that's what I was talking about. That was their first
Yes.
game out of the box too. We have to remember.
Good
that,
point.
Yeah.
Being suspended. I mean, there was a couple times. Alaric Jackson had his back turned in the backfield.
He did.
I mean, he was facing Nate Stanley when there was a rusher coming.
I know there was a couple times when that happened. I don't know what caused that, but it was a little strange.
I thought Wirfs was maybe a little stronger, or solider than Alaric was.
Yes, I didn't look close enough. And worse has the play on Twitter where he did the blind side and pushed the guy way downfield, and a lot of fans are loving that too. But I mean, I'm not worried about the tackles, but I just thought it was interesting what Don said. He doesn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was hopefully a first game rust that they're knocking off, and maybe they can play, a little better against UNI to build some confidence. But I thought, something that maybe Brian could have done a little bit differently is maybe throw some screen passes.
That's what I thought we were going to see way more.
Any screen pass.
Iowa State
didn't either.
Well, they tried.
They had one screen,
but he was
that I
covered.
remember.
They tried to throw two or three, and Kemp looked. If I throw to him, there's three guys. But then nobody was open downfield. I thought screen passes were going to be a huge thing. Maybe Iowa's still saving that because I still think with this Mekhi Sargent, this guy's really comfortable catching the ball out of the backfield. I've seen him enough to know that he can do that. So I was surprised. I thought Iowa State would do more screen passing too. But remember, on that first drive, they threw to David, and it was just swarm. Iowa's swarming defense was very impressive. They did some great gang tackling.
Yeah, I think, and Sargent, in my opinion, was an unsung hero. He was really shifty in there, turned a lot of 2-yard gains.
That's what Don said.
6-7.
Yep.
Got some extra yards. And,
there was not a lot of blocking.
You can see why Ivory Kelly Martin probably got more carries than Torrin Young. And it's no knock on Torrin Young. It's Ivory Kelly Martin was able to get to the edge a little bit. There was a couple of those that Young looked like he got ankle tackled toward the edge there where there was 10 yards of open space in front of him where maybe Ivory Kelly Martin could have got to that edge a little quicker.
No, that's true. But see, combine them all three together, I think they're okay at running back. Even if they're just two of the three are healthy, because we got to face it. There's going to be the long season where there could be a running back who's always banged up. You just don't know. But I'm okay with him. But you're right, though. I thought one of the neat things about that game was Mekhi Sargent had runs where he could have either been hit for a loss or nothing, and he turned them into 4 and 5 yard gains. And then Stanley's looking at maybe 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 6. Those things were a big up, and I'm encouraged by him. I really do, and it'll be interesting to see this game Saturday. Do you think they're going to come out and try to feed the passing game more or the running game? What do you guys think?
Good question. I think
both need nurturing.
I think maybe work on the passing game a little bit more because Brandon Smith finally flashed something.
I keep thinking Noah Fant's going to have a big game on Saturday.
Fant hasn't done much, and Easley hasn't done hardly anything. I think they got to fix that, or they have no chance whatsoever against Wisconsin.
So you're saying they got to show something in a real game before they go to Wisconsin?
Yes.
Because right now, Iowa does not really have much balance on offense.
Well, I think, too, in granted the drops, Fant dropped one, Smith, Marset.
Oh, there's been at least 6.
Those don't do you any favors.
No, you're right.
Stanley looked bad in a couple series, but I like that he got better as the game went on.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of that, as you guys know, is rhythm. I mean, if you're dropping passes and you're not getting in any rhythm, it's tough to maintain your focus and your momentum.
Yeah. Kirk talked about that. He didn't mention
balls.
Well, yeah, Kirk talked about that after the game. He didn't mention any specific reason, but he said right now they have no tempo or rhythm on offense right now, and that's what they gotta. And he says that takes a while sometimes, and you just gotta keep plugging away at it. That was kind of his attitude, which is basically what you have to do.
And you saw those last couple drives when he got better is that there wasn't any drops. That he was able to get in more of a rhythm and get the tempo going. Where they kind of had Iowa State off their toes a little bit. They were mixing in the runs. They were the tight end outs. Then they went downfield. Because Brandon Smith, they were able to do a few more things. It's tough when it's 3rd and 9 and they know what you're going to do, and you've got guys that can't block all that good right now. That it's tough for any offense. I don't care who you are.
No, you're right. Hey, I know we've talked to you about basketball a lot before. They got the. Should probably mention that I'm not surprised. They got the commitment from Joe Toussaint, the point guard out of New York. So they've got that breakdown defensive point guard. I saw somebody with Rivals already compared him to that Javon Carter, the defensive star at West Virginia.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that's
give me a break.
I know that's the age. It's the age we live in. It's how you get clicks and attention.
Jeez.
I just hope the kid can come in here and stop ball pressure, get to the rim. And whatever. He's going to have 1 year to play with Jordan Bohannon, so hopefully you can envision this kid blowing by a guy, seeing Jordan wide open for a 3, swish, and Jordan doesn't have to do any work on that. That's what do you think? And then
sounds great.
Xavier, I wasn't expecting the other kid. They both love their visits and what have you, but nobody was expecting any of the other 2 kids to commit or anything.
I saw those guys I was staying at the Coralville Marriott, and I saw those guys. I saw Francis before waiting for him for the game, and I said, "Hey, good luck this weekend." He said, "Thanks." I said, "Yeah, we need him," and he said, "Yes, we do."
Yeah. Well,
Toussaint's small. I mean, he's not a big guy.
No.
But I think the expectations. He's not going to come in here and score 20 points.
No, they don't need him to. They just need him to
on the defensive end
and handle the ball and distribute.
Handle the ball, get into the lane, distribute. They got enough 3-point shooters. That's never going to be a problem underneath McCaffrey. Jackson Davis, I mean, the articles are written to slant Iowa, but by all accounts, he's pretty much going to Indiana, which is fine. But you got to get a guy like Foster, a guy that's close, but you got to win this year. You got to show him progression. You can't go another 4-12 in the Big Ten. You got to make the tournament. I mean, guys don't want to come and play for guys or teams that are a number 2 seed in the NIT. It's just not going to happen.
Well, and I had somebody reach out to me. Oh, did you see Foster's quotes? He loves Iowa. What's he going to say? I mean, I know he likes Iowa. But I think a lot of people are thinking, God, we got to get him to commit right now. He's not anywhere.
He's not gonna.
He's not
junior,
going. And he's going to see Iowa State next week, isn't he?
Yes.
So I'm with you. I don't expect either one of them. If they get either one, great. That's gravy. But at least they've got a defensive, athletic point guard coming in now.
But I think you guys are right. We have to
win.
Show progression.
Yes.
And a good progression to interest some of these better players.
And that Keon Brooks is announcing his top 5. Is it today? Yeah. His ship sailed a while ago.
I think it's gone. Yeah.
What do you think, caller?
Yeah, no, he's. I think he's probably a package deal with Davis. He's probably going to go to Indiana. I mean, I know they were out at UCLA together a couple weeks back, but I think they're more Indiana, and more power to them. But it's good to get those guys on campus.
It doesn't hurt.
Momentum, but you got to win.
No, you do. You're right. Hey, listen, appreciate the call as always. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Captain, I just got a text from Kim Jong-il saying even he gives his people a break over in North Korea in the labor camps. Can we please take a break? He's saying you got to soften up. You're our little dictator, and he wants to know where your little jumpsuit is like he wears.
Well, we can take a little break.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
It's exhausting getting all these calls. Just you guys in KGYM. You're really lucky.
1630 KCJJ on TuneIn and YouTube. Powered by the Iowa City Marketplace.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember, over the years, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys on the market today. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, sidewinder, and remote-headed keys. If you've lost the keys to your car or simply need a duplicate, call 330-9185. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars has the technology to keep you on the road. Call 330-9185 and schedule an appointment today.
GT Carr, owner of Supple Siding and Remodeling, offers service and quality that is unmatched in the area. At Supple Siding and Remodeling, their trained professionals will install and guarantee the products used in any size job done, regardless of the project. Supple Siding and Remodeling will stand behind their quality products and installation with exceptional customer service. Whether it's a window replacement, a kitchen remodel, or a house addition, our employees are committed to quality. Visit sales at supples.net or call 337-2246. If you are looking for creative, eye-popping graphics, look no further than Zephyr Sign and Graphics. Zephyr specializes in vehicle graphics, posters, indoor and outdoor banners, stretched canvas signs, vinyl, plastic, or frame metal yard signs. Call Zephyr Signs and Graphics at 351-3500. That's 351-3500. And as for the large format department, for incredibly creative and effective signs and graphics, stop by Zephyr Signs and Graphics in the heart of downtown Iowa City's Ped Mall at 125 South Dubuque Street. Car won't steer? Call Premier. Premier Automotive in North Liberty offers full-service mechanical auto repair work in addition to being Eastern Iowa's most trusted name in auto body repair. Use Premier for all your auto repair needs. Brakes, oil changes, air conditioning, diagnostics, transmissions, or preventive maintenance. Whether you hit a deer or your car won't steer, see Premier Automotive in North Liberty.
In the electrical field, we know time is in high demand and often short supply. At Sittler's LED Supplies, we value our relationships with local contractors and electricians to evaluate jobs, create layouts, recommend and supply our in-stock products, and file incentive paperwork for your customers. How much time and money can Sittler's LED Supplies save your business? Call 1-800-426-3938 to talk to one of our lighting experts, or stop in, meet the team, and tour our facility at 111 Westview Drive in Washington.
On an athletic team, you need team players, good athletes, superior equipment, and the best coaches available. In real estate, you need to have a good title and settlement team at your disposal. Hi, this is Steve Anderson. Whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing, you need quality title and settlement services. Consider the team at Hawkeye Title. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
Dad, we want movies!
Hello, I'd like to switch to DirecTV. I want over 150 channels with HD DVR service and equipment fee included for one receiver.
Yeah! DirecTV. Package offers start at incredibly low monthly prices. Call now.
Big Dog TV and Internet, 395-0800, or stop by and see us on Players Ferry Road in Cedar Rapids. Ends 8/31/18, 24-month agreement required, $35 activation, early termination fee of $20 per month for each remaining month on agreement. Equipment non-return and additional fees apply. New approved customers only. Equipment lease required. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Every time we go there, it just feels great.
Like happy and excited.
Reboot Family Night at the Oxy Oak Inn.
Talking to each other about the day and everything.
My mom, my dad, and my sister.
The food makes everybody happy.
I like potato pancakes, chicken schnitzel,
roast beef with mashed potatoes and gravy.
Kind of reminds me of something from my childhood. And then they bring a tray of desserts.
Pie and stuff like that.
I like chocolate. She likes Death by Chocolate.
It's cake that just has a lot of layers of chocolate frosting.
It's really magical. And then we pass the forks around.
Families in everything they do at the Oxy Oak Inn.
It feels like I've been with my family.
It just makes everyone happy and have new family memories.
We all like it.
Just 20 minutes from Cedar Rapids and Coralville's Coral Ridge Mall.
Oxy Oak Inn.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Plenty of sunshine, up to 75 for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the northeast this morning becoming south this afternoon, and of only 5 to 10 here today. Tonight, mostly clear. We're going to drop to 53. Tomorrow, sunny, a little warmer, and a little more humid. Our high 77 on Wednesday. Mostly sunshine with a high right around 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Right now, it's 61.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City and Coralville's Hy-Vee. We are streaming on our YouTube channel, the official 1630 KCJJ. We're also streaming 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the audio on the TuneIn app, and 1630KCJJ.com, all powered by the Iowa City Marketplace. Morning.
Hey, have they come out with the time for the Wisconsin game yet?
I have not seen it yet.
Nope.
Supposed to be
you think
sometime.
It'll be a night game?
Supposed to be sometime today. I kind of think it
I'm
will be a
thinking
night
it will
game.
be now that Iowa's 2-0, and I'm thinking it will be, yes. I mean, 7 o'clock, and what channel are you guessing?
Has the Big Ten Network made their pronouncements?
No, I have not seen. But I have to admit, I don't follow it as closely as some people do. I kind of wait. And
I kind of expect it on the Big Ten Network, but I don't know.
But no, we have not heard anything yet. But lots of times stuff seems to break when we're doing this Monday
It does.
show. So if you hear anything, let us know, and we'll be looking too. But I have not heard anything yet.
And then one last thing. The announcers on TV, they said that whoever won this game between Iowa and Iowa State will be ranked in the top 25. Is Iowa ranked?
No.
They're not?
Michigan State's ranked 25th at 1-1, and I don't follow the rankings that closely. Don't really care about them, but no, I mean they're getting votes now, but yeah. So I guess they were wrong.
All right, thanks.
Yep. I just think the rankings. It's just
It's too early,
and I don't. I agree. I think it was Sage Rosenfels or somebody tweeted. I don't think you should even start ranking till October
because all they're doing on the preseason and the first week or two are from last. You're sorting it out from last year because that's what you have. The preseason is, okay, last year they were this is what they got coming back, this is where we're going to put
them.
And
they're different teams, and most teams don't play anyone really good early to where you don't really get a true evaluation of what the teams are. So, no, I would not have a problem. But it also is discussion. People love the polls. People love voting in them, and I get it. So that's just part of it. But I've just never taken the polls very serious. And we should find out Wisconsin today, I would think.
We should.
That's usually how it is. And, yeah, I would be surprised if it's – I don't know. Does it have a chance to be anything? Could it be like the ABC 230 regional? I don't know.
I think those have been
they've already
called, yes.
So they basically can be on ESPN, Fox, and Big Ten Network?
Yes.
Because they can't be on, obviously, NBC. Okay, so I think that's what and like I said, I don't follow the TV stuff as closely as I should as a guy who reports the team, I'll admit that. So they really couldn't be, every channel's not available is what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, and yeah, so they're either going to be on one of those 3 or 4 networks, and Fox, does Fox have a 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock? Well, yeah, they have the 4 o'clock, and then the game after that 7. So you think it could be back-to-back weekends?
Well, it could be.
What do you think about being on?
Well, it won't be back-to-back because we got UNI.
UNI, that's right. But 2 out of 3, and UNI is on the Big Ten Network, right? Yes. So we'll see. I'll be surprised. Now, in the old days, they used to sometimes be the 2:30 ABC game. Why aren't they now? I don't know. See, I don't know. I should know that. I don't.
I don't know. I don't know how those agreements are structured
I don't either.
and stuff.
I don't know them. But no, once we find out, we'll let you know. And I'll be looking on Twitter as we do the rest of the show because it could happen.
Some of the UNI games are on Channel 7, and that'd be a real cluster for Dish because they don't have Channel 7.
Isn't that amazing that Dish doesn't have?
Crazy.
What's going on with that?
They're in a fight. Want more money.
More money. It's always about money.
Yeah. Channel 7 wants more money.
Something that none of us have talked about yet is what a huge factor Colton Rastetter was on Saturday.
Again.
He was just terrific.
Yeah, he seems to be, at least after 2 games, he's getting the job done. Punting is not a weakness. Don didn't mention him today, which is probably a good thing. Last week he mentioned him because he didn't think he did very good. He thought it was misleading. I was interested. I did not watch the tackles closely enough, but obviously they must not have played well.
And I saw somebody post, there's a service that measures players' effectiveness and how many snaps they play and stuff, and Wirf's actually graded out like the second best offensive player.
In the game?
Yes.
Yeah. So
but Alaric Jackson was well down on the list.
Yeah. So I mean,
I don't know what it means.
I would more than likely trust. Now, is that some guy from Rivals, or is that a journalist doing that, or a
no?
coach?
It's something called PSS, I think. No, it's a recognized.
What I'm saying is I'm more apt to.
No, it's not Rivals.
Trust and believe what a former 40-year coach says, and he wasn't overly critical. Yeah. He just said they looked a little rusty, and obviously they didn't do anything real well on offense. So I think it's fair to say that nobody really played well on offense. I think the running backs may have played the best. I thought they did a decent job of making something out of nothing. And if you notice, it looked like Levi Paulson played a lot for Cole Banward at guard. So I don't know if that was Banward, if he was struggling,
or did he get
I don't know if he got nicked up. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I think it's fair to say they have about 6 with Jackson and Wirfs back. They have about probably 7 or 8 linemen they feel pretty good about, or at least they feel can play. And that's the good thing about getting Dalton and Kallenberger in there, is if something does happen, they've got a little bit of experience now. But to me, this is the offensive line's always the same with Iowa. They're never quite as good as we think they're going to be, or as some people think they are. To me, they just kind of – I'm not saying they get a pass at Iowa because of Kirk's reputation and because they've had some success, but you've said the same thing. The offensive line never, to me, is quite as good as you think it's going to be.
No, and they're not, and when they don't get good very fast.
No, they take a while, whereas Wisconsin just comes out mauling. And I say this, too, about Iowa does this against teams. I mean, I think if Wisconsin played Northern Illinois, they would beat them similar 30, but it would be a lot different. They would just maul them from the very beginning, I think.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see. I cannot wait. I'm not dismissing the UNI game, but I cannot wait to see Iowa's defensive line against Wisconsin's offensive line, because this year,
something's got to give.
This year, I think Iowa's got its best chance to match them. No, you ain't pushing us. You're not going to win this game in the trenches. You're not going to control tempo. Now the Iowa offense may not do anything, but I think this year it's going to be. I think they're going to get to Hornibrook. And like I said, I've got Iowa winning this game. I had them winning this game before the season started. Now,
I hope you're right.
I also had them losing to Iowa State 2 years in a row, and they've been close to doing it each time, but they haven't done it. But I got a different feeling about this Wisconsin game, even though things don't look good on offense right now.
I kind of guess my biggest concern is we've scored, a total of 9 points in the first half?
Yeah, no, it's not.
And that ain't good.
And they have no perimeter attack right now, and the receivers are having trouble getting open. When they do get open, they drop them, and Stanley, I still say Stanley has got to get out of the pocket. That time when he scrambled for that first down, that was huge.
Well, and then they had one other play where it was a called play where he had a quarterback keeper.
Didn't like it.
I liked it only because they never call it.
I know, but he's so slow it didn't go.
Well, it didn't work.
So, caller, go ahead. You're on the auction.
Hey, so Nate Stanley's passing. I think he showed some good flashes there.
I agree.
When they started running out the shotgun and just letting it rip a little bit in the third quarter.
I agree.
So I think that they're gonna. I don't think everybody needs to get all over Nate Stanley. I think he's all right. Obviously, the receivers need to buckle down. Just watch the ball in the hands and just catch it.
I agree. I'm more worried about the receivers than I am Nate Stanley.
Absolutely.
No, I agree.
Yeah, and T.J. Hawkinson. I mean, he's been, really, in my opinion, he's outperforming Noah Fant. It's not even close.
Oh, I would agree with that. And he's their most well-rounded. T.J. Hawkinson, barring injury, is going to be an NFL tight end. And I'm not saying he's leaving after this year. I'm saying, no, I agree with you, though. He has been their most consistent player, and he's a good blocker. He blocks good. So, but I still think Noah's going to explode here in one of these games. Noah's the kind of guy that can do nothing. The next thing you know, he's got 5 catches for 160 yards. So we still have yet to see that. I'm with you, though.
I would like to see that.
To me, you could make a strong case right now that T.J. Hawkinson's been their offensive MVP after 2 games. He's got 10 catches.
Yeah, I think Noah Fant is he's a completely different tight end than what we've really ever had at Iowa. I think T.J. Hawkinson is kind of your Scott Chandler, your Dallas Clark. He kind of fits that mold where Noah Fant's more of a Jimmy Graham type of tight end.
Maybe like Tony Moyaki, only healthier.
Right, yes, right, correct. So far.
No, I agree.
I
agree.
Also, have you guys heard anything about the start time for the Wisconsin game yet?
No. We were just talking about that. We have not heard anything. I'm looking on Twitter. I have not seen anything. I'm guessing it will be at some point today.
Okay.
We're guessing
All
night
right,
game, but we're guessing a night game, but we don't have anything to base it on.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Yep. I'm giving. Let me see. I'm not seeing anything. It would be if they announced it, it would be all over.
Oh yeah.
I mean, God, it would be all over Twitter. I'm not seeing anything yet. Let me see. I'm even looking at some Wisconsin stuff. A.J. Epinesa, co-Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. That makes complete sense.
Nice. Yes, sure does.
But yeah, that's the atmosphere at Kinnick for a Wisconsin night game. If both teams are 3-0, is going to be. What do you think, Tom?
Unfreaking believable.
Yes, it will be. It will be something to behold. And like I said, they're going to end this streak at some point. Wisconsin has not lost at Kinnick since 2008. Sean Green.
It's crazy.
Think about that.
The loudest I personally have ever heard Kinnick was in 2010. And my ears were...
Was that the game Bielema pulled the fake punt?
My ears were sore afterwards and ringing. It was so loud.
But they were sure quiet after that fake punt.
Oh, my God. And we haven't touched Wisconsin since, really, except for the CJ's team.
CJ's team, yeah. So,
and that was... I'm not going to say luck, but it took a pretty strange play to win that game.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. But a W is a W, and nobody really have to go back and remember that game because when you look at it now, it's just, oh, no, we beat Wisconsin in 2000. It doesn't matter how you do it. So the Badgers are what they are. They're no different. What's impressive, though, is they've been doing this without their 2 top receivers.
I know.
And one of them's back now. That Donnie Davis, I believe, had a 2-game suspension. Cephas, my guess is, will not be back.
I'm guessing
that's a big loss. I mean, he was one of the better receivers in the Big Ten.
Well, Davis had a good game against us last year. He had a couple big catches to keep things moving for him.
And the other guys that were playing behind him got experience these first 2 weeks, and I watched. They're pretty good and pretty athletic. But if Wisconsin beats Iowa, it's going to be because of those big horses up front.
Yep.
But like I said, I am fascinated by the prospects of that matchup. I really am.
Well, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Those big left tackle going up against A.J. Epinesa and Matt Nelson and Anthony Nelson and Hesse. It's going to be some serious slinging, Captain. What do you think? You knew on that long pass to Brandon Smith that they had called an audible, didn't you? You knew that. I was going to interrupt Don and say, well, no, Captain knew that. You knew. Bud told you, I'm sure. Hey, they just called an audible.
we all knew.
Yeah, we knew. Come on, Don. Tell us stuff we don't know. We're kidding.
I really want to see Brandon Smith with a breakout game, like 4 or 5 receptions, couple touchdowns.
That would be nice, but what will accompany that then?
Why didn't they, I don't know, throw to him more?
Complete overreaction, the next Jerry Rice, the next, it'll just be, I'm telling you,
you're probably right.
That's the atmosphere we live in now. It'll just be embraced. There'll be columns about how he withstood the the anguish of not producing and had to use patience and the trust of God to get him there, and by God, here he is. I mean, and then you got all those expectations after one big game, and then if he doesn't do something the next game, people are like, what the hell's going on with Brandon Smith? Just let him play.
Ferentz only targeted him 7 times in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hey, guys, I heard you talking about that time for the Wisconsin game.
Have you heard anything?
Yeah, what's that?
Have you heard anything?
I didn't understand you. What did you say?
Have you heard the time? Because we haven't.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I just looked at for the tickets at the stadium here. Looks like a noon game.
Noon?
Saturday,
What do you mean you look at the
PM.
tickets?
Well, I went on the Iowa City ticket sales. It's Kinnick Stadium tickets, and it shows United Panthers 6:30, Badgers 11:59 p.m., Memphis 11, Northwestern 11:59. I don't know. This is just times on here.
I don't think I wouldn't go by.
I wouldn't go by that yet.
Okay.
Well, no, I appreciate you sharing it. I just don't.
Those sound like Eastern times anyway.
So maybe would it be an 11 o'clock?
I don't think so.
Could you imagine if Wisconsin was 11 o'clock?
That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. So, hey, anyway, I just seen this. Right?
Okay, no, we appreciate you showing it.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll look into it. We're going to check it out. Captain, are you checking it out?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're welcome.
I mean,
that.
it could be, though.
I guess.
11 o'clock's a time slot, but why would you make Iowa, Wisconsin at 11 unless there's really good... We don't know what the competition... What other games are out there?
There's Oregon, Stanford.
Who does Notre Dame play? Well, that's not going to impact it anyway.
God, I was looking at those things this morning. I can't remember. I remember Oregon, Stanford.
Ohio State plays TCU, I believe.
That was week 3, I thought.
Oh, wait, no, you're right. That is week 3. I don't know week 4. So, I mean, there's a chance because the 11 o'clock isn't. But
I guess so.
I have just written that time off.
That didn't ring true, though. I mean, I don't trust that. Nothing against the guy that called in, but I don't trust that information didn't sound right to me.
I'm looking to see.
I'm not seeing anything.
I'm not seeing anything either. Like Morehouse, I follow him. He'd be all over that. He'd have that time out there. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be. Maybe this is.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Is this KCJJ?
We think so.
We hope so.
All right.
You want to buy it?
It's for sale.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, what can we do for you?
I wish I could afford it. If I win that lottery, I will.
Well, good luck.
In that lottery,
Yes.
I double the price.
There we go. That's fine.
And you
I'd
wouldn't
pay
care.
double the price. I wouldn't care.
No.
Not at all. The only thing I could think, if it were to be at 11 o'clock, the Wisconsin game is because it's the start of the Big Ten Network's tailgate thing where they're going to be at Hubbard Park that morning.
Oh, I hadn't thought about
Yeah.
that. I had not thought about that. So, yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, there's no. I think we've all just assumed it was going to be late afternoon or early evening. So, but like you said, that's a good point. So, I guess we just got to wait and see.
Right, but I know that they were really playing that up on that final drive.
Yes, you're right, they were.
The other night, that was going to be the start of the Big Ten Network's tailgate tour or whatever they wanted to call it, and that would be the only reason. But God, I just can't imagine 11 o'clock either.
They've done early shows and had later games though before.
Right.
So So I don't know about that.
Yeah, none of us know, so we're just speculating.
No.
But no, that's I appreciate the insight, and yeah, this. Have you ever thought about going over to something like that, the Big Ten tailgate thing? Would you ever go check something like that out?
No.
Doesn't interest
I
you?
don't care. I mean, I love that the students go and they have fun.
Is it more of a
and
student-oriented?
stuff. I think
students,
so.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because like I
don't
said,
want old people there.
No, I'm not interested in.
What if Burt Mustin showed up? He'd be 145. You'd have something.
You know, 'cause getting on TV means nothing whatsoever to me. I couldn't care less about that.
Is Burt Mustin still alive?
No.
He's not?
No, he's been dead for 28 years.
I think he was born in 1884. Look him up. I think he was Burt Mustin, 1884.
Hello.
Guys, I want to tell you, HawkeyeSports.com lists Wisconsin as a 7:30 kickoff on Fox.
Okay.
Really?
So that would be the most official thing I think you could find other than an actual announcement. But
Yeah.
the actual website listed as 7:30 on Fox.
Interesting.
Wow, so they must have just put that up?
Tweet it,
Because
Tom. Tweet it on your...
Don't have my phone.
Oh, you don't have your phone. Tweet it, Captain, saying here in the... Because if it's wrong, I want it to be on your Twitter and not mine. But there you got breaking news here on the what is this thing? The radio show.
KCJJ? What is this thing?
Radio show
He died
/
in
podcast.
77.
I know, but when was you born?
In 1884.
He was born in
1884.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, podcast listener from Des Moines.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I listen every week that you guys come out with it.
Well, we appreciate it.
What I was wondering is, with all of these players, I mean, think about it. Iowa has faced David Johnson, and I think he got like over 100 yards.
Well over.
This Montgomery guy. Montgomery, even though he only had 44 yards, if you look at all the past players we played, even Melvin Gordon, I think he had right around 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then other players have got it. How good is our defense right now to stop maybe possibly the Wisconsin back to get him under 100 yards? Because obviously Montgomery should have had over 100 yards. I had him in my fantasy league, and I was like, wow, okay. And I'm an Iowa fan. And I was like,
we don't know.
No, but no, I was very impressed with how David Montgomery never seemed to have any space. If you remember correctly, David Johnson did a lot of that damage with catches over the middle. The Iowa linebackers were just out of position.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever out of position on Saturday.
No, and the way I would answer that is the big difference between Iowa State and Wisconsin is the offensive line.
Yes,
Wisconsin's offensive line is as good as it gets.
It's true.
And Iowa
True.
State's is not very good.
David,
so
yes.
That doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to stop him, but that it would be a factor to minimize that.
David Montgomery had
Well,
nowhere to.
We've had other Wisconsin guys that have got the 100 yards. Because remember, always the thing about Iowa is we don't allow you guys to get 100 yards on us.
Yes.
And the only guys that could ever do it was like kind of like the Melvin Gordons,
Monty
and
Ball,
the Wisconsin guys, and maybe a Michigan State guy would get one every once in a while.
Certainly, Ron Dane ate us up.
Yes, but that was also
Ron
at a time.
Dane always ate us up.
That was also
a Wisconsin guy.
But then, in fairness, Ron Dane was 2 of his years were 98 and 99.
Right.
Iowa
That's
was
right.
horrible. But no, you're right. It's a big part of this game. I mean, it's gonna. If Jonathan Taylor runs for more than 150 yards, Iowa's going to be in trouble.
Yes.
Oh no! Yeah. If he gets 125, we should be okay.
Well, if
But
125 is manageable, I mean that's manageable. I mean,
well, then it depends what Hornibrook does.
True. And see, I bring up. You can't really bring up.
I'm not scared about him. I'm
not either. But
feel like I'm not scared about him.
You can't bring up last year's game. It was such an outlier because Iowa was so bad on offense. I mean, if that happens again, then all stats don't matter. But
Hornibrook has won a whole lot of football games. He's got a good supporting cast.
But he's also helped by one of the best rushing attacks in the country. And if Iowa can I'm not saying Iowa's not going to slow down. They just can't let Taylor average 6 to 8 yards a carry. That's going to be a problem.
I think the yards per carry is the statistic
That's
more
what they
than the
look
number.
at.
Yes.
And if he averages between 5.5 and 8, they're going to be in trouble.
Oh, and for the podcast, more fake dirt. It's always great.
All right, we'll relay that message.
Great.
Okay.
Well, and you know what? For the podcast, play the music because you only got like 12 people watching YouTube.
No, Captain, he's he's turned to the right.
As a matter of fact, we got a lot more watching YouTube.
You just struck a
and
nerve
we get
there.
About 200 views after.
And if he says anything mean to you right now, he doesn't mean it personally.
My bad.
I kind of agree with you, but
I do too. But it's his show and it's his world, and
it's my world.
It's your world,
and welcome to it.
It's a backup for your podcast.
There you go.
That's
This
why
guy
I'm
wants
doing.
That's
why I'm doing.
He wants more fake Dirk and he wants more music.
Yeah.
So less.
Get out your
sports.
checkbook.
He wants less sports, less breaking down hardcore analysis, and more fake.
HawkeyeSports.com does have the game at 6:30 on Fox.
At 6:30.
Well, because that other thing is probably an Eastern time zone.
Uh-huh.
So tweet it out, Captain. Be the first one, then we'll all like it.
Yeah, Hawkeye Sports says 7:30 p.m., but I'm
so we got all these different times. We've got 11, 6:30, and 7:30.
Why would Hawkeye Sports have an Eastern time, though?
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right.
I mean, I can see why Fox would. But
I'm not.
But then I would think, well, what about Fox? Check Fox.
Hello.
Hey, it's lonely old Grandpa Dirk.
Hi, L-O-G-D, Log D.
Someone just tweeted at me
just
saying
an hour before your show,
someone
I
just
looked at
Dirk.
the
Let me talk
official.
first. Dirk, let me talk first. Someone just tweeted 7:30 on Fox.
Yeah,
so,
that's what it says on the official Hawkeye website right now.
but nothing's been released yet, so it's not official.
Yeah, an hour before your show, I looked at the website and they still had nothing. So this is brand new, and I appreciate the caller.
You bet.
No, but what I'm saying though, it's not official yet.
Yes,
it looks pretty official to me.
Well, it's not official yet because the TV that hasn't
Let's see
been
what
released
Fox
yet.
when
Yeah,
Fox
then it becomes official.
Yeah, it is a Fox TV game. Odd start time, 7:30.
I mean, there's really no odd times anymore.
No,
I mean, there's.
Well, 7:30 Eastern would be kind of odd, although that's what we're playing. You and I is a 6:30 game.
If it's a 7:30 kickoff, that game won't get over till sometime after 11 p.m.
No, it's 7:30 our time.
That's what it looks like
It's
here.
on the official Hawkeye app, and they have the Northern Iowa game at 6:30, so that's local time.
All right.
So
So
they haven't
7:30.
released anything about it, but it's on the official Hawkeye.
All right.
Yeah, we figured it would be a night game, and like I said, the options are limited now. They've got two. There's not. It's not like they can just be on any channel anymore.
Well, it says Fox Tune In. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
either.
it says BTN.
Well, that's
Tune
radio.
in. It's
Tommy.
just telling us to tune in, I guess.
Oh.
No, that's radio.
Okay, well, about 7:30 on Fox. There you go, everybody. Breaking news here on the show. Captain, you're at the front of it.
I'm at the front of it.
Breaking the news. Breaking the news.
All right.
Well, you want to post that?
I've got some breaking news on the Kinnick Party House.
Yeah?
They had a concrete crew over there on Sunday tearing out stuff. They were really going at it yesterday.
How big of a party was there? Was it Spawn Ranch on Saturday?
Again, I don't know. There was nobody there. They're not allowed to occupy it at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just the poor abused animals that are hanging around outside looking sad.
Okay.
But also, happy 69th birthday to Joe Perry, Aerosmith co-songwriter, founder.
Not an Aerosmith fan. Never have been.
Like
never will.
Aerosmith.
I like
I just
Aerosmith,
never have.
all right.
Dream on. Is that Aerosmith?
Yeah.
I didn't like that song
I
particularly.
didn't either. Dirk, you big Aerosmith fan?
Big Aerosmith fan since their, second album.
I always thought that Steven Tyler looked like Mick Jagger after like a really bad surgery.
Yeah, he ain't good. Ain't looking good,
Well, you got to give Aerosmith credit. They are probably the premier American rock and roll band. They've been together with the same lineup for 40-plus years.
Yeah, that's true. They made a lot of money, and they've partied pretty hard, too.
Yep. Danny Hutton, one of the three lead singers for Three Dog Night, turns 76 today.
And he's a dick.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Yeah. Massive dick.
Let's hear it.
Oh, we backed him up at a show in Sheridan, Wyoming, and one of Corey Wells, great guy.
Yeah,
partied
really
with
nice
him.
Guy, really nice.
What about
guy.
Chuck Ogren or Nogren?
Negron.
Was he already?
He was a nice guy as well.
Okay.
Danny Hutton was just a total effing spook. Just
okay, and
period.
I met him twice, and same.
Yeah.
So okay, how? In what way?
It was like he couldn't be bothered to do anything.
When he was a $3 guy, it's not like the Beatles.
He had less personality than Lurch on the Addams Family.
I mean, it's nothing. It was like there wasn't even a spark of life there.
No, I had
Dirk, you lit a
better
fire.
interaction with Billy Bob at Showbiz Pizza.
Could it have been substances? I'm just.
Sure, it could have been.
So could he have been like? Do you think it was substance related?
He isn't known to have had
some
substance abuse issues, unlike Corey Wells and Chuck Negron.
Yeah, Chuck Negron lived in a dump. He was homeless.
He had personality issues for sure, but no, it was Dick.
That's what I always like about you guys. You never know. Just a name. You bring up a rock name, and boom, we can localize it here.
Well, little known fact: he was born in Ireland and moved to California as a little kid.
Yeah.
And after high school, he was an animator for Hanna-Barbera. No, I'm sorry, not an animator, but a voice actor for the Hanna-Barbera animation group, who did pretty much all the Saturday morning cartoons that.
Remember him well.
Yep.
Not funny.
He also
None
tried
of them
out
were
for the
funny
Monkees.
except Quick Draw McGraw when he became El Cabon.
What about Foghorn Leghorn?
That's Warner Brothers.
That's Warner Brothers.
Oh,
Yeah, that's Warner.
Did you
The
like
Warner
Foghorn?
Brothers cartoons were all great.
Great.
Just about Hanna-Barbera, not so much.
Yeah. Loved Warner Brothers.
Yes. Foghorn Leghorn's the greatest.
Yeah.
Loved him.
He was good.
Yeah.
Keep
I
my
say
feathers
boy.
numbered for just such an occasion. After he'd
Jeff
gotten
Lato's
blown up.
drummer Barrymore Barlow is 69 years old today.
Who the hell's who's Barry? Who is this guy?
Barrymore Barlow was the drummer for Jethro Tull.
Oh,
and was considered by none other than John Bonham to be the greatest British rock and roll drummer ever, better than himself.
what about Keith Moon and Neil Peart? Although Neil Peart's from Canada.
Jethro Tull's just stupid.
Sitting on a park bench.
Shy little girls with bad intent. Snot is running down his nose. What a bunch of crap. I mean, honest to God.
Yeah, I hated
what
them.
Okay, what do you
And
hate
then
more?
They come on stage and they're woodsmen. No,
Captain, what do you hate more, Iowa State football or Jethro Tull?
Iowa State football.
Jethro Tull.
All right, Dirk, you're lighting a fire today with these
All right,
anniversaries.
here's the last one. Don Powell, drummer, songwriter, and founding member of Slade.
I'm not familiar.
See, chameleon, run away.
That's the worst song
Right?
ever.
Yeah, no, it's. But
They
were like
one of the best live concerts I have ever seen.
Yeah,
Showman.
I'll take your word for it.
You'll have to.
Showman.
What did they
The
do?
The showman.
Magic, or what did they do?
Come on, feel the noise. Squeeze
I thought
me,
that was
please
Twisted
me.
Sister.
Yeah, it is Twisted Sister.
Come on, feel the... That's
No,
Twisted Sister.
No, it was Slade, and then Twisted Sister.
Oh, they did.
reissued the song
Twisted.
themselves.
All right.
I only
there was
remember
another one
Run
that,
Away.
Yeah, there was another metal band that played one of their songs.
Hey, have any of you guys, and I think I've asked you this, seen the or the documentary on Big Star on HBO?
Yes, very
It's
good.
really interesting. Have you seen it?
What's Big Star?
That's what's stunning right there. A guy who's made his whole life in music.
It's a 70s band. They did the damn...
Alex Chilton, Mark
The
Bill.
lead singer for the Box Tops.
Yes. Yeah, he became...
Formed Big Star, and they had an outstanding lineup of musicians, and they were in Memphis.
Did you ever see that 70s show?
Yeah.
No.
The intro.
He's
song,
asking
the
Suter.
Big Star song.
But no, what I'm saying, though, is that's the greatest band that nobody ever heard of.
I've
It's kind
never
of,
heard of them.
That's how people refer to him.
They did the opening number on that 70s show, and then it was...
I've seen that 70s show. I've seen it twice, but it was never
We're
at the
all
beginning.
all right.
Never at the beginning.
Hang it out.
Yeah.
And Mark Bill, wasn't it? He died young.
Yeah.
Wasn't his name Mark
There's
Bill?
only one left out of the original group.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just watched it again. It's a really good documentary about
never
this
heard of
band that just had all this talent and so many people liked him, but it just never really happened.
It never... Yeah.
Well, they had a lot of record company problems.
They did.
Yeah, just bad timing, record labels going under.
And I've heard their music. I'm not blown away by it. I think it's okay. I mean, you've heard it's okay. It's like, oh my God.
Another great song of theirs is called September Girl.
Yeah, I've heard that. It is
Beautiful
good.
song.
I was more struck by Sixto Rodriguez than I was Big Star. Sixto, you've heard of him?
Heard of Sixto Rodriguez.
I mean,
yes.
his music's good, Captain. I know you laugh as you turn Mindy Stevens on or whatever, but his stuff is big out and his shit. His stuff was really big.
Way to go, Harty.
His stuff was really big in South Africa.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I play the hits of America.
All right.
I'm American.
All right, Trump.
We're Americans.
Captain is our Trump, Dirk.
He kind of is when it comes to music.
Yeah, he is. It's his way. And he turns around to that wall of shame and says things are as good as they've ever been.
That wall of shame is all your crap.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not seeing any animals by Pink Floyd back there.
The wall of shame is being built there over by the Kinnick Party House.
Not to be confused with a walk of shame.
Both of you
that's their goal.
What now?
I think they're going to be opened by the Wisconsin game. That
would make sense.
Yeah.
Then it will be the Spahn Ranch, you think, for that night?
It just might be. Oh, my God. 7:30 start. Danger.
Will Robinson, danger. So,
yeah.
That would be a good, because like I said, night game, that stadium is going to be rocking. But you got to beat UNI first. I
haven't heard you guys talk about this, but I'm sure everyone noticed the Iowa State band was tucked into the very top corner.
I commented to the guys sitting next to me. I'm like, they were like sitting on top of each other.
Yeah.
Well, we were grateful that they were up there and not next to us in the north end zone like they are every other year.
You're right. That was something I noticed that right away.
They are obnoxious, and I've read enough stuff online this weekend about the poor fans that had to sit around them. That was a real slap in the face by the Iowa Athletic Department to stick them away. I've never seen an opponent's band.
I say more power to them. Now, Iowa State will probably return the favor, but whatever. I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I bet the fans that sat around them did. That'd be terrible to be in front of that band.
Well, they got to sit somewhere.
They play in between every single play on the field.
Yeah.
They are blowing the horns and banging the drums and just being...
Doesn't Iowa's band do that when they travel?
No.
We don't play as much.
I've never seen a band like Iowa State's who not only does that between every play, but when the Iowa band is playing, they would play over them.
Okay.
And that is a major...
Maybe that's why they stuck them up there.
Yeah.
Well, that might be why they do it. Yeah, and if that's the case, then more power to them.
up with them.
There you go.
Yeah.
I guess you got to let them in. But
he hates Iowa State more than Jethro Tull. And he is after this show.
I hate Jethro Tull more than
I think
State.
you should.
If Jethro Tull comes and plays and wins in Kinnick, then what a stupid ass!
Can you imagine?
Honest to God,
Ian Anderson dancing around Kinnick with his flute.
I saw them. They got this stupid green woodsman thing with a
minstrels
dumb hat. Well,
that was their theme, wasn't it? Jethro Tull.
Minstrels. Yeah. Just blows.
Really don't mind if you sit this one out.
There's a couple. Skating Away by Jethro Tull. That's a good song.
Come on.
It's a good song. I don't care what you say. It's a good song.
That guy chokes on his flute.
Well, I think he makes his living now selling salmon.
I
think he's a really rich salmon.
Is this a fight? Yeah, he's
into salmon. He sells salmon.
Yeah.
Ian Anderson. So
I met Joe Perry one time backstage at the Five Seasons Center. In fact, the whole band, and they couldn't have been more friendly. Each and every one of them.
I met Steve Perry, and he was friendly.
Could have been gone.
Yeah, I said, hey, it's 11 o'clock. I should have been gone. Knowing how.
And I met Iowa Football Center Dayton Perry back in 1960, I think it was.
Yeah, and I read about Admiral Perry.
Yeah.
God.
And I've been through Perry.
I think we should need to evolve right into the police reports right now.
Big week in Major League Baseball. Cubs host the Brewers. Cardinals host the Pirates.
Cubs suck. I'm pissed at the Cubs. Just when they get a little space. Losing that freaking doubleheader was ridiculous. I'm sorry, but
they've been a little bit streaky, haven't they?
They were still in first place. It's just going to go down to the very, very. And I would rather have I know people are going to think I'm nuts. I'd rather have the Cardinals win than the Brewers. The Brewers fans are just idiots on Twitter.
Brewers are the hottest team in baseball right now.
Brewers suck.
And the Central Division, Cubs, Brewers, and Cardinals have. The three of them have the best records in the National League.
No, this is what you want, but Kat, what do you hate more, the Brewers or Jethro Tull? Captain?
I don't hate the Brewers. So.
I hate Jethro Tull.
All right.
The Brewers, I mean, other than this year, they're never on my radar.
So if I could get Ian Anderson to come on this show, would you do?
I'd punch him right in the face. No.
I'd ram that flute right up his bunghole.
Honest to God.
Jesus. And you would be on the police
Well,
report.
it's just.
What about
it's
Danny
so
Hutton?
Stupid.
Danny, well,
Yes,
doesn't sound
Danny Hutton.
okay, but somebody obviously out there has liked Jethro Tull, or they wouldn't be Jethro
No,
Tull.
A lot of people like
Millions
that.
of people
like
must
Jethro
love.
Tull.
I'm just not one of
So,
them.
Dirk, do you like Aqualung?
I love everything they've ever done.
I like the guitar solo on Aqualung at the end. Getting to the guitar solo is a little nauseating, you know?
Yeah, really.
God, just kill me.
Well, it's got one of the all-time great rock and roll guitar riffs in it.
It does.
The
It really
song
does.
Aqualung.
And you know what else does is the Knack, My Sharona. The guitar solo at the end of the My Sharona is incredible.
One of the greatest all-time guitar solos in rock history. My Sharona.
It really is.
Well, guitar solos or guitar licks?
It's just the last part of the song.
There is a solo.
Do you have it?
Midway through
When we
the
end,
song.
put it on.
That is simply
It really is.
outstanding.
It really is. It is, and I love Mark Knopfler's guitar solos too on all his songs. Like his how he ends, he teases you in the middle of Sultans of Swing with that little riff. Then at the end, he takes it to that. I love that. So
Mark Knopfler's a gifted guitarist.
he is, but he and his brother don't get along. They can't
No.
even be in the same room. Now that's just a little ridiculous.
Well, but they don't beat the hell out of each other like Oasis.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. Those
Steve, are you going to accept the challenge that Pat laid down and play that guitar riff?
No,
My
he won't.
Sharona?
No, he's going to come back with some.
I'm going to go into the police report.
Yeah, and okay, all right.
All right, well, I'll let you guys
All
go.
right, Dirk.
Thanks for taking the call.
Hey.
Go Hawks.
Hey, Suter, who would you rather see naked, Ian Anderson or
Louis
Katy
Anderson.
Perry?
Or Louis
Or who?
Anderson.
Katy Perry? Let's go with Katy Perry.
Yeah.
I thought you were. How about Ian Anderson or Louis Anderson?
Oh, boy. Lou. I'll pass.
But we're the only Hawkeye podcast that ends with. Most of them end with a question like, "What do you think the score is for Iowa?" You and I. We end with,
pass.
"Who would you rather see naked, Ian Anderson?" Let's get another Anderson in there. Who's that?
Erlani Anderson.
What's
Hello?
Sheila?
Hey.
I think they hung up with fear.
Hello?
They're like, "Nope."
Hello, no, I'm on.
All right.
I wanted to make a fast note, notice to you. The last time the Iowa band played at Minnesota, they were stuck way up like Iowa State was.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe that's the new thing that's happening now. Maybe schools are not treating.
Well, they want them way away from other stuff, but the Iowa band was clear up in heaven.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
That's good information.
Anyway,
Thanks.
thanks for sharing that.
Okay, well, talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
That must mean that maybe I wonder if, although no matter where you sit the band, some fans are going to be annoyed.
Oh, absolutely.
There's just no way around it.
Good morning, Mr. Suter and Pat Harty and Captain Steve.
Good morning.
Where were you Thursday and Friday?
A lot of hungry kids went hungry.
I had to get a new phone. My phone wasn't working right.
I heard, Captain, is this true, though? Did they not feed the kids here on those days because the menus weren't
they
ready?
don't know what they're
Did
gonna
you realize that? The kids didn't get fed.
You should have heard that crowd on the last Saturday. They were going crazy. I heard it on the radio.
You should have heard the kids crying for food at the junior highs, and they were hungry.
Who do you rather see naked, Ian Anderson or
Louis Anderson?
Or Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson.
Oh, my God. All right.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Katy Perry
He
or
must have been-
Steve Perry?
He's been watching baskets, Captain.
Your question, Mr. Suter, would be Katy Perry.
Yeah, good call.
Yep.
We had one of those awkward. I love those awkward silence things with him, where you all kind of look at each other.
Scott Udash or Mark Duke?
Come on, let's get those menus. I'm hungry. Let's get those menus read.
Today, for the Iowa City schools, they'll be having a hamburger on bun with cheese-filled breadsticks, breaded chicken on bun, Philly steak on bun, steamed green beans, romaine salad, and applesauce. Burlington, Iowa Elementary will be having little pepperoni bites with peas, garden salad, and pineapple tidbits. That was Burlington Elementary. That Burlington Middle School's little pepperoni bites with peas, garden salad, and pineapple tidbits. Burlington High School one of Suter's favorites, pizza.
Yes.
With sweet potato puffs, green beans, garden salad, and a whole red apple. In Burlington, Northern Mackey's pizza, sweet potato puffs, green beans, garden salad, and a whole apple. And that's lunch menus on 1630 KCJJ.
All right. Well, we don't normally get that.
There you go.
Little extra promo.
A little extra for the podcast.
Podcast has had everything.
Did he say pepperoni bites with peas? Does that mean the peas are in the pepperoni bites, or are they accompanying?
I think they accompany.
I like when you grit your teeth when I say anything.
When I grit my teeth, I have a bad habit. The older I get, the more I grit my teeth. I grind my teeth. What do I do it when you start to be mean to the guys up north?
Yeah.
We got another call. This show
won't die.
We're trying, Tommy.
This is like the Jerry Lewis telethon, man.
Yeah. Except we're not making any
money.
Hello.
Hey, I did just want to say a correction. Quiet Riot sings "Come On, Illinois."
Okay, I said Twisted Sister. What do they sing? Twisted We're not gonna take it.
Yeah.
No, we're not gonna take it. All right, thank you for clearing that up.
Captain?
Yeah?
When Dirk calls, could you take text because he's on forever?
Jesus.
Take all the time you need for Southern Justin, who did answer that Louis Anderson question.
Without hesitation. Quickly, because I think that means he's been watching baskets. Don't you think?
I
think it's a name he knew.
Back to the topic at hand. Is 7:30 the latest kickoff they've ever had at Kinnick?
The Miami game started at 7:05.
They've all been either 7 or 6:30, right?
You may be onto something. And if
it's not a big deal, is it?
Well, if Fox says it's going to be on at 7:30, if they say they're not going to kick off till 7:35.
Yeah.
Easy. Hello.
It may be, Tommy.
All right, two things that this podcast doesn't
Do your
have.
sound.
All right.
One, it doesn't have you guys say I was right. And two, Walmart sucks.
He got
Okay.
in a fight with Walmart.
I don't disagree with the second one. So what were you right about?
I said that we were going to be prepared for the Cyclones and we were going to dominate.
They did on defense.
Besides the first play, the first series of downs, we pretty well controlled the tempo of the game.
True, I will give you that. But now the offense did not dominate anything. No, you're right. Iowa was the better team.
But Stanley, I'm sorry, but I'm putting a lot of this stuff on Stanley. I'm coming out there whooping you, Rob. Because, again, the plays that mattered, he underthrew or overthrew, or threw it to the other the defender.
Yeah, I thought Stanley was better against Northern Illinois than I did against Iowa State.
And
I thought he
struggled a little bit, although there were more drops in the first game.
There were. But I see what Jeff's saying.
Yeah.
Captain keeps making that. He keeps making that sound effect, Jeff.
I know. That's because he wants me. He's attracted to me. He can't help it.
This thing's... Scott. Is our podcast really ending with Jeff Waite saying that you're attracted to him? God.
All right. You know you've stayed on the air too long when you get Dirk, Southern Justin, Jeff, and Karin back to back to back to back.
Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
All right.
Hello, how you doing?
The reason they controlled the tempo is Iowa State channeled their inner Greg Davis.
I'll give you a little bit of that. I thought Iowa State was very conservative. I forgot Hakeem Butler was even on the team in the first half.
Yeah, because they started doing that 2 to 5 yard crap that Iowa did, in the last 5 years, and that's what killed their.
I agree. No, that's a good point. And I was not impressed with Kyle Kemp at all.
Not at all.
I thought he waited in the pocket too long. He refused to move. And
then Nolan, I wasn't impressed with either.
No, they did, though. You're right, though. They did a lot of just more horizontal stuff.
Yeah, and that's why Montgomery couldn't get going, is because everybody was jammed in the
no, you're right. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
They refused to throw down the field and open it up, except for maybe, if I remember right, I don't know, I started drinking about the first series. I had about 6 beers down by halftime, but I want to say that I think they only went downfield maybe 5 times.
No, they did not do it much at all. No, they do. You're right.
And most of that was in that very first series.
Yeah, that first series, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Everything they're doing is right. But when they didn't score at that goal line, it seems like it just deflated them. It really did. So I'm with you, though. And, caller, I was surprised at how many Iowa State fans turned on social media right away on Campbell. They don't want him calling the plays.
Boy, they really did.
They did. It was brutal. I don't think Nebraska would do that with Scott Frost that quickly. I mean, it was, but I'm with you, though. I was a little surprised that they didn't take more shots. It seems like they were playing not to lose, and Iowa State never seems to play that way against Iowa.
Oh, no. No. It
sounds like Blade Runner 2049.
Was just, it was way too conservative.
I agree with you.
I mean.
So why do you think they called such a conservative game?
Well, I guess I'm not entirely sure. I think Kemp getting dinged up might have had something to do with it.
How much do you think it's respect for Iowa's defense?
But no one does have the better arm than Kemp does.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you don't have any time to do it, and you don't have receivers getting open. I just wonder how much of it was the respect for Iowa's defense, mostly the defensive line. Because he threw a lot of just short, dinky passes where he didn't trust his line to hold up, and that's right.
Well, I don't know.
Sounds like he has his own pet dragon with him.
Because, I mean, you look at what they did against Oklahoma last year in TCU.
No, you're right. You're right.
Better defensive lines. They went down the field.
You're right, but they also could run the ball a little bit in those games. They couldn't run the ball against Iowa. They never were able to create any space.
Yeah.
And like you said, though, they didn't really try to create much space.
Yeah, and a lot of that goes back to, like I said, they didn't take shots down the field, whether they were incomplete or complete. The more you do that, the more opened up the defense is going to be.
Okay, no, you're right. I agree.
So, but defense did play a hell of a game, and I'll give them credit for that. Their offense is got a little bit better, but they're still sputtering pretty hard.
I still think they're going to be a tough out in games where David Montgomery can run the ball. And let's face it, the Big 12 does not have a lot of good defenses. So I still see Iowa State as a team that can win between 6 and 9 games, 6 and 8 games this year.
Well, they may only play 11, though.
Yeah, true. I still think they'll win. I still think they'll win at least 6 games. So we'll see.
They got a tough. Yeah. They do have a tough schedule. It's much tougher than Iowa's is.
Oh, without question. Yeah.
And to turn around and have to play Oklahoma this week, that ain't.
I don't have them winning. I think they're going to lose. Oklahoma is playing the lights out, and let's face it, they want revenge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then going back to Dirk's call where he said that Iowa State fan was playing in between every single play. He's obviously never seen an Oklahoma game.
No, they do that.
They're playing their school song every damn play.
So you think it's more of a Big 12 thing?
Well, and when LSU played Iowa and Florida, they always have that da 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 da. Go get it. That gets real tiring too.
He does have his own.
Are you in the bathroom?
No, he's got his own pet dragon with him, I think. What's that noise?
Well, that's about all I got, boys.
What's that?
Wait.
No. What is that noise?
We want to hear that noise. Are you okay?
What is that noise?
On my end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm driving my semi-Hong Kong.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, thanks as usual for the call.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll end on a good call like that.
Thanks.
Right? What do you think of that?
That was a good call.
Kind of brought us back. We didn't ask him about Louis Anderson or Ian Anderson or.
Actually, all the calls were good except for Southern Justin today. I was a little disappointed with his effort.
Wow.
Little disappointed with his effort.
Hey, Tommy, you want to blow this off till tomorrow?
God, Tommy gets to come into work and then leave. I want his job.
Hello.
I had one more bit of history on this date in 1976. 2 jetliners collided over Yugoslavia and killed all 176 people on board.
Well, that's sad.
Hey Pat, did you see the flyover at the Hawkeye game Saturday? A big jet flew over.
Yeah. I didn't notice it though.
Yeah, I saw it.
I missed it.
I wish the goddamn thing would have slammed right into the Kinnick house. Killed all 200 people in that goddamn forsaken thing. That's what I wish.
Okay, all right.
Wonder how we could make that happen.
My God.
A harsh ending to a fine broadcast.
Just so our listeners remember, we started with Don Patterson. We started with Don Patterson out of the gate. We did do that. We had him on for 40 minutes, and then look what happened in the next hour and 8 minutes.
Which should have been gone.
All right. AllHawkeyes.com. Get your subscription today.
Iowa City's news first, 24 hours a day at 1630 KCJ.